Hey guys, I'm John Setzler. Welcome back to Man Cave Meals. Today, I think I'm going to fire up one of the Kamado Joes, and we're going to cook a rack of baby back ribs. Going to be absolutely amazing. If you haven't subscribed, please take a moment to hit the subscribe button. Click on the bell so you can get an alert each time I put a new video out. So, let's get started. To get this project started, I'm going to fire up my Kamado Joe Classic III with the slow roller. I've got some hardwood lump charcoal in there, and I've got several chunks of cherry wood that I'm going to use for smoke, and then I'm just going to set my grill grates up here on the top. I'm going to close this guy up and set the vents and let this guy come up to 225 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the rack of baby backs that we're going to start out with, and I want to tell you a little bit about these. I don't often sing the praises of meat that I buy at Walmart, but this is Smithfield. Smithfield's an excellent brand, and I really like these baby backs that I find at Walmart that are labeled as extra tender, extra meaty pork baby back ribs. And when you find these, you have to look through the case a little bit because there are some fat racks of ribs in there. I often find racks of ribs that are over 5 pounds, and this one is 5.35 pounds, and these guys cook beautifully. They're amazing, and you're going to see the results and why I recommend these when we finish the cook. But in the meantime, let me get this out of the package and get it ready. I've gone ahead and pulled the membrane off the back of these ribs simply because we just like to do that. And I'm going to try something new that I've not done before that I saw Pitmaster X do recently. And we're going to use mayonnaise as a binder. So I'm going to squeeze on just a little bit of mayonnaise. We just want a very thin layer of that, and I'm going to rub it all over all sides of this rack of ribs before we put our seasoning on. And now that I've got my mayonnaise binder set up on both sides of this, I'm going to start shaking on my rub. And today I'm using the Man Cave Magic number 2, which is my go-to homemade pork rub. And I'm just going to put a nice liberal coat of that. Here we're starting out on the back side because we'll be cooking bone side down, and I'm just gonna pat that on, but that mayonnaise binder is going to make that stay without much of a problem. So we'll get that on there, and then we'll just flip that guy and put a nice even coat on the top side of these ribs. And I like to put enough rub on these just like I do on the pork butts, a layer thick enough where you just can't see the meat through the rub, and that's where I like to be. So that's ready to go, and we're just going to let that sit here until our grill's ready. All right, our Kamado Joe is up to temperature, and I've got a nice bit of smoke rolling here with that cherry wood we put on. So I'm going to set this rack of ribs right here in the middle, and I've got one piece there that I failed to pull off, and we're going to close that up, and we're going to let this guy ride in this smoke for 2 hours at 225 before we come back to have a look. We're just a little over 2 hours into this, and I'm pretty happy with the way this is looking. I'm going to give these guys a quick spritz, and I think I may let these go 2.5 or 2 3/4 hour here at 225, maybe even 3 because of how big these ribs are. So we'll be back in a little bit. All right guys, we're at the 3 hour mark, and I'm pretty happy with how these look. So what I'm going to do, we're going to get these guys up and take them over to the work table and get them in some foil. Okay, here at the prep table, you'll have to apologize, the aluminum foil makes this kind of hard to see. It messes with the camera. So what I'm going to do is we're going to sprinkle on some brown sugar on the top of these baby backs, and I'm just going to kind of spread that out. You don't have to worry about getting it completely even. That's about all I'm going to do. And then we're going to drizzle on just a little bit of maple syrup on top of that, just about like that, not a whole lot, maybe just a couple of tablespoons. And then we're going to wrap this up. I know a lot of people like to go bone side down at this point, but I'm gonna go bone side up, and we'll set these back on the grill. So we'll bring these right back over, set these right back on the middle of the grill, and I want to get that seam creased up there where we don't get much leakage there. And we're going to come back, have a look at these in about an hour. We've been going about an hour here in the foil, so I'm ready to pop this open and have a quick look at where we are. Those things are looking pretty nice, but I don't think they're quite tender enough yet. No, we're going to let these things go another, I'll probably let them go another half hour, and we'll come back out here and have a look, because we got to get these things super tender before we move on to the next part of this cook. Okay, these ribs are thick enough that they're almost going to go like the 3-2-1 pork spares. I've been an hour and 50 minutes here in the foil, and I think I'm to a point where I'm tender enough that we're going to go ahead and get these off the foil. So now that I've got those out of the foil, we're going to sauce the top of these. I've got some sauce I've been bringing up to room temperature that I'm just going to baste. I like sweet sauces, so that's what this is. This is kind of like a Kansas City sweet sauce, and I'm going to give that guy a good baste of that. And I'm going to save a little bit to put on here at the end, and I'm going to close this guy up, and we're going to go somewhere for another 45 minutes to an hour. Okay folks, we've been on here a total of right at 6 hours, and I think that's exactly where this one should come out based on the amount of meat that's on here. This is got a lot of meat for a pack of baby backs, like I showed you earlier, and these guys are probing absolutely beautifully tender. And I'm going to rest these for about 15 minutes or so, and then we're going to cut into them. I've let these guys rest for a bit, and I've cut them open, and I want you to have a look at that. Man, that is an amazing looking baby back. And of course, I'm going to snag a bite. Oh boy. That's amazing. These baby backs are hard to beat. And they're easy to cook. It's just like any other piece of barbecue meat. You've got to cook them until they're tender. And that's exactly what we've got here. And this flavor profile here is also fantastic. So guys, give this a try. Let me know what you think. Leave me a comment. Until next time, this is John Setzler with Man Cave Meals.